Hi everyone, my name is Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today this video is going to be talking about what to look for if you are interested in getting a puppy. There are a lot of bad breeders out there who are really good at making their program look good. So before anything that says champion lines, anything like that, that's a really big red flag. If they are selling puppies based off of color and gender at different pricing, that's a really big red flag. But this is more about what to look for in a good breeder. So when you're looking for someone who might be having puppies in the future, find the breed you want. If they're producing mutts, that's a pretty big red flag as well. Say you want border collie puppies, look for breeders, and then from there, here's a list of 5 different things that can make a breeder look more trustworthy and reputable. So off the bat, if the breeder does OFAs and DNA testing, those are kind of the bare minimum that, okay, the breeder's putting some effort towards making sure these parents are structurally sound to set the puppies up for success. If the breeder is not doing that and they're just matching 2 dogs together based off of appearance without any thought of structure or DNA, that is already a big red flag. Each dog breed carries things that are negative, and if you're testing to make sure that they are not carriers of these negative things, it is just the bare minimum of what you can do to make sure these puppies are set up for success. If the breeder competes with dogs, even if you don't plan on doing competition, this is showing that these dogs have a sound and stable enough temperament to behave in a very stressful situation and setting. Even if the dogs don't have a lot of titles, as long as there are videos showing that these dogs are performing well under pressure, this is setting you up for success. Gunner, you're the one who put yourself there. This is setting yourself up for success by at least showing that these dogs have ideal temperament, because one thing to remember is it is not in how you raise them only, it is also genetics. Dogs have a breed standard for a reason. Their herding dogs are going to be more inclined on herding things. Retrievers and hunting dogs are going to want to retrieve. Obviously there are variables, but you have to be mindful, and that's where producing mutts is once again bad, because in a lot of cases they're mixing herding dogs with hunting dogs, and you have 2 different beasts fighting to be in charge in a lot of scenarios. And some people get lucky, but a lot of people get very unlucky. So if they are competing with dogs and proving these dogs, the more versatile, the more things this dog is doing, the more it shows that it will be an ideal companion for you. Because if you want to do stuff with it, okay, this dog does agility, it does obedience, it does scent work. Those are 3 very different settings. One of them is high energy. One of them, like, the dog is working with you under pressure and they have to kind of chill. And the other one, the dog is working independently by itself, searching for something. Like, all those are very different. But the more your dog does these things, the more it shows that, okay, the puppies that it might produce should be able to be trainable. They should have good enough temperaments where even through the puppy years, you can train them that can work through these behaviors pretty well. I mean, Ammo, she had maybe a month of teenage time, but even then it wasn't like, oh my gosh, who's this dog? And a lot of it is because of the temperament testing. Speaking of which, the next thing is temperament testing the puppies. At least where I'm from, it's very difficult to find a place that just does like the adult dog temperament tests. However, I work with a couple of my friends so that when they have puppies, I help temperament test their puppies, and obviously we're all certified. And if I ever do have puppies, they'll do the same for me. So that makes it a lot easier to then match these puppies to ideal homes. If I have this absolute Spitfire puppy that just wants to go, 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 and a retired family is looking for a dog that, they want to do stuff with, but, it can also hang out, and they come and pick this puppy that's a Spitfire because, oh, look at how cute it is, that is setting them up for failure. A good breeder does the temperament testing. They will take what you are looking for into consideration, but ultimately they will match the puppy to you based off of their temperament first. And if you think a dog, oh, it's ugly, I don't like the way it looks, maybe you should reconsider why you are looking for a dog. I got border collies because they match what I'm looking for. Obviously, they're very beautiful dogs, but if I was just a layabout, I don't care how pretty they are, I would not get one into my household. I would find something else. And that it should be the mindset that you have. A companion you should love because it's a dog, not because of what it looks like. So who cares if the dog isn't the color you wanted? Who cares if it, it's a male instead of a female, if it has the perfect temperament for your life? I don't care if I have the ugliest dog, if I love living with it. I could have the most beautiful dog in the whole world, and if I hated living with it, that would make things not very enjoyable, because beauty is very much, it's just at face value. And that's the same with people. You could be with a very attractive person, but if this attractive person was not very nice to you, would you really want to stay with them? And then number 5, I'm trying to keep this video short and sweet. I can talk about this all day. If you'd like me to go into more in depth of any of these things, or if there's any more, that you'd like me to talk about, because I can talk about the red flags. I have even more things that I could add to this list, but this is just the first 5 that kind of came into my head. And another one is puppy culture, or ENS, or something along those lines. I know great breeders who do not follow the puppy culture or ENS to the dot, but they take inspiration and then cultivate it into something more of their own. So when you're looking for puppies, ask the breeders, do you do any ENS? Do you do any puppy culture? And they might say, okay, well, I don't do puppy culture exactly, but here's what we do week to week. Here's what I'm exposing them to. That is still very good. Basically, puppy culture is the book standard of what to look for when they're exposing puppies to things, because the more puppies are exposed to as they're young, the easier things will be as they get older. Is this 100% true? No, it is. This is where you have to maintain it when you get them as a puppy. But the breeder is doing everything in their power to set these puppies up for success until they leave their home. So with that being said, that's kind of my top 5. You know what? Actually, I'm going to add a number 6, because I'm going to combine OFAs and DNA testing. The breeder should have a contract, and the more you go, oh my gosh, these are a lot of rules, the better. You want to have to jump through hoops to have puppies if you plan on it, because that means the breeder is doing everything in their power to make sure that their puppy is set up for success. And if these owners are interested in having puppies, they are protecting the puppy they produce by having it in the contract, where if you go against this, like I get the dog back and you're fined, that's a good thing. That means they care about your puppy. Breeders just going, okay, here's a dog, see you never. They don't give a crap about the puppies they produce. And if you are faced with a challenge, you are on your own. For me, Ammo's breeder reaches out to me and will say, hey, here's this thing. I want to do the CAER, and I'm hoping to do it soon. So she's been sending me some links of where I can do the testing for that. And she let me know when the Optimal Selection Wisdom Panel was on sale, and all these different things to do that can help. And if I have questions, I asked, oh, well, when do you think she'll go into season? How long do you think I should wait until I get a little concerned? And she told me when her female goes into season. I've worked with so many clients where they have all these issues with a puppy and they're just ghosted by the breeder. Most good breeders should also have in their contract of, okay, I need a at least once a year update of how my dog is looking, the dog I produced, because they want to make sure these dogs are going to a good home. That means they are preventing canine obesity, underfeeding, abuse, because if they don't get this picture within a year each time, they will go, okay, and they will do a further investigation. That's part of the contract. and make sure that these dogs are safe and they are in happy homes. And if they are in a happy home, you know, some people aren't very tech savvy and it takes a little bit longer to get back from them. But for the most part, like, I'm always posting pictures of Ammo, and her breeder and I are friends on Facebook. So she's going, oh, wow, you guys are doing so great. And it's very cool to see. And that's what you want. You want a breeder who is still loves their puppies they produce from the sidelines and has a take back policy. It should be in the contract that the puppies go back to the breeder if things don't go right. You never want these dogs to end up in shelters, and a good breeder will never allow their puppies to end up in shelters, and they will do everything they can to prevent that from happening through contracts, through these updates, through everything like that. These are my 5.5 things that you can look for a good breeder if you are interested in getting a puppy in the future. Hopefully this helps. If you have any more questions, concerns, comments, things to add, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you did get a backyard bred dog, this is directed towards educating people to avoid backyard breeders. I feel like backyard breeding is a term where, oh, but the puppies aren't in a backyard. But in reality, I'm trying to prevent the unethical breeding practices, like, for example, the French Bulldog thing that's going on right now, the micro-bully thing that's going on right now, a lot of the XL bullies that are going on right now. The majority of those breeding practices are quite despicable, and especially for micro-bullies, I think their lifespan typically is around 4 years. That is horrific. They are breeding extremes in the worst possible way and causing these puppies unnecessary pain and just producing more and more and more suffering for these dogs. It is so sad and so shameful. And my goal is to educate buyers, because if you avoid these unethical breeders, they won't do it anymore. But they're good at tricking people into buying from them. And they have their own competitions that makes them champions, when in reality they are not regulated by ethical kennel clubs. So it is very important to do your research and make sure you are getting dogs that are structurally sound, and that way you can end the cycle of this abusive relationship between these unethical breeders and their poor dogs and their poor puppies that just keep on having to suffer structurally because of this. So that being said, thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.